All right, injury front. Elijah Moore spent the night in the hospital. He is home now. He's in concussion protocol, so we'll just work through that over the next few days with him. But glad that he's back home. Mike Ford has a calf injury. We will update that as we get back more information the next few days. But like we talked about last night or this morning, whenever it was, proud of the effort, proud of the fight that the guys had. Out there. Was a fun night and happy to do it in front of our fans like we talked about. And then we'll have this little breather here over the weekend. And then, our focus is we got to finish strong. And that's what we intend to do. And with that, I'll take any questions.
All right, first question will go to Scott.
Hey, Kevin, can you say any more about Elijah? Like just how long was he in the hospital? Did they find anything,
No, yeah, I don't have a ton of other information other than say that he's doing better. He's home. I've been texting with him. Those are always scary, as we all know. But I will say this about him: I'm very proud of him. He was getting going. I thought the route he ran for that touchdown was outstanding. That just he's done a great job for us. And with Amari going down, put him over there in that spot and didn't miss a beat. I mean, the play he made to break up was almost an interception. Break it up, grab it. He was outstanding.
Yeah, I know you've talked about the job that Andrew has done in the front office, kind of giving you the depth of the roster, but just in the season of injuries, how important has it been for them to continue to add guys who have stepped in and had huge roles for you?
Yeah, I think it's been unbelievable, and I think again the credit goes to Andrew and his entire staff. I mean, our crew works really really hard to find people that are sometimes available and working them out. I mean, just look at the guys that are playing for us that weren't with us at training camp, and that's just a testament to our personnel staff in finding guys that we knew we could trust, and then obviously the coaches getting them ready to go.
Thanks.
All right, next we'll go to Mary Kay.
Yeah, Kevin, staying on the receivers for a minute. Do you feel like Amari, he'll have this little extra time to get well, and do you feel like, he might be ready for the season finale?
Yeah, I hope so, Mary Kay, but it's really hard to say. It happens on these short weeks. You go into it and you don't know until the guys get out there in the field and have to move around in Amari's case. And he couldn't go and he tried like crazy. But I do think rest will be a big deal this weekend. And then we'll see how he's doing next week.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Daryl.
Yeah, Kevin. Obviously, when we speak to you, a lot of it is, nuts and bolts football here. But for you, when your name's mentioned along the likes of, Paul Brown, you and he are the only coaches in franchise history to win 11 games multiple times, and you passed Bill Belichick on the team's win list. Just what have you enjoyed most about this run this year?
Yeah, as you can imagine, I don't really spend time thinking about how I factor into that, Daryl. I'm proud of this football team. I'm proud of the players. Look at that locker room. Look at how they are on the field. Look at them picking each other up. I think it's about those guys out there on the field.
Thanks.
All right, next we'll go to Cam.
Kevin, now that you've had a couple hours to soak it in, how did it feel to clinch the playoffs in front of that home crowd? And were they as electric as you hoped that they would be?
Yeah, they were, Cam, and they were electric from the jump. I mean, pregame, and electric's the word just because there was a buzz. There was a buzz in that stadium. They came ready to roll. That fourth quarter, you could feel that they were just waiting for that clock to hit zero, like probably all of us were, so that they could, finally celebrate that. So special for them, special for our players to be able to, get around the stadium and be with our fans. I mean, those are great moments for this organization, for this city. And then again, we'll very quickly turn our attention to next week and trying to finish this thing strong.
Thanks.
All right, next we'll go to Jeff.
Couple of questions, Kevin. How about Dustin and Corey? Do you have any idea whether they might be ready for Sunday?
Yeah, I don't really have an update. I think Corey has probably a better chance than Dustin, but we'll see how that goes throughout the next few days.
And then, if depending on how things work out Sunday, it'll affect your chances of winning the AFC North. The question is, what is your philosophy on rest or rust when you have players that you might want to could sit against the Bengals?
Yeah, I think it's so dependent on where you are and what you feel like you need for your football team. Obviously, there's moving parts here going into these last ball games, so we'll see how it plays out on Sunday, and then we'll make the appropriate decisions. But it doesn't change the fact that we want to finish strong.
Thank you.
All right, next we go to Ashley.
Hey, Kevin, to go back to Elijah, I mean, you alluded to being proud of him and the way he played and came around. I mean, I know he's been honest this season about having to fight through some of that personal frustration and how he's not let it get to him and contributed in the ways that he can. So what does that just say about him and what he brings to that room and the locker room in general?
Yeah, Ashley, we do a game captain each week that's chosen by the players, and they chose Elijah this last week. And part of it obviously going up against your former team, but more of it was just how hard he works. He shows up every day. He does his job. He practices really hard. So just proud of him getting that opportunity last night, getting those balls and doing something with them. And as we're blessed to have a bunch of different guys on offense that we can get the ball to and feel really good about. And Elijah's certainly one of them.
And then just what have you overall kind of seen from Alex these last few weeks as he's taken a larger role in that D line with Obo out and the way he's been able to get to the quarterback and especially how he's improved in that regard over the last year?
Yeah, I think Alex continues to get better. I mean, a young player, young person, and I think every single rep, every single game, I think he just continues to build up on what he's doing. Plays hard, has made big plays for us in really these ball games down the stretch.
Next we go to Fred.
Hey, Kevin, you look at the Jets had a really good front. I think they were like second in the NFL right behind your defense. And to get in the red zone 5 times and, in the first, get 4 touchdowns, how important, to get off to that start and kind of get it where you could take the gas off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you go into every game, Fred, not knowing exactly how it's going to play out. I have a ton of respect for Coach Sala and that team, and that defense is really, really good. We had a couple of things go our way early in that game or in that first half, and we're able to get some big plays. I think the big plays were really the story of it for us. And then, like you mentioned, second half kind of made sure the clock was rolling and, obviously didn't have the same amount of explosiveness that we had in the first half.
All right, we'll go back to Scott.
Hey, Kevin, you talked about Jerome Ford a little bit after the game, but it seemed like he was running really hard. Did that stand out to you too, how hard he was running?
Yeah, he was running hard. I thought the guys did a nice job of moving that defensive front, which again is very, very good against the run. But Jerome ran hard. I thought all the runners ran hard. And then, the play Jerome made at the end of the half is incredible. Joe to get out of there, get him the ball, and then the rest was all Jerome, and he just would not be denied.
And talk about guys running hard. Obviously, David Njoku has done that all year long. How's he continue to get so wide open lately?
Yeah, he's we practiced on Tuesday of this week, and you're 2 days removed from Sunday playing against the Texans, and Dave was flying around like it was training camp. Now he was dressed like it was training camp too because it was 57 degrees out. But he just looked fresh and was moving. So I felt real good about Dave going into this game. Joe obviously understands Dave's skill sets, and getting him the rock on the move is a good thing.
Thanks.
All right, next we'll go to Mary Kay.
Yeah, Kevin, on the long Jerome touchdown, Joe just gets clocked in the face before that, maintains his composure, gets his footing back, gets that little pass off. So I was just wondering, your thoughts on his ability to do things like that, but then also just doesn't flinch. I mean, Amari's not going to play in the game, doesn't flinch. Elijah goes out, he maintains his cool. So just wondering about that.
Yeah, I mean, on the first part, that play was great, and those are the off schedule plays. Those are the ones that the chalk ends on the chalkboard and the players take over. And Joe, had a little bit of burst there, getting away from the D line. Found Jerome. I was not sure from my angle if he was close to the sticks, if he had the line of scrimmage, but obviously he knew where he was. And then Jerome again made an unbelievable individual effort. But as it pertains to Joe, he's played in big games, Mary Kay, so he's a really good stabilizing force there in the huddle for our guys in the sideline. Regardless of. We know injuries are a part of this thing. So regardless of who we have available to us, we kind of just narrow our focus and really just, and Joe is a big part of that, just making sure that guys are just doing their job.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Kelsey.
Yeah, Kevin, how much of that that blocked field goal attempt, how can that be how is that a galvanizing moment, I guess, for you guys as a team, and just kind of especially to build the momentum for the defense moving forward?
Yeah, Kelsey, that field goal block unit, that's something that we take a lot of pride in. And we have some guys that are outstanding on that group with Shelby and Jordan Elliott and Dalvin and Miles and Denzel over the course of time. So that's not a playoff for us. And, that was a big play in the ball game. I think it helped maybe getting the 5 yards moved back a little bit, maybe change the trajectory of the kick potentially. But we have guys that don't take a playoff and they want to get that ball because that's just a game changer when you come away with no points there.
Thanks.
All right, and last one from Daryl.
Yeah, Kevin. Kareem and Jerome Ford lead you in touchdowns scored this year. I know Joe obviously is getting a lot of credit for the offensive success, and rightfully so these days. But just what can you say about those two guys and their contributions, even though they may not be putting up those big yards? When you get down there on the goal line, they're finding a way to get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, like we talked about Jerome, just those big plays was just really good effort. Even the first touchdown there. Carrying a guy into the end zone. So Jerome did a great job. And then Kareem all season long, really all the time that I've been with him, has an incredible knack for short yardage and goal line running. He has that nose for the end zone. He has the nose for getting the first. He just has a great run style when you get in those moments because he goes and gets it. And if he needs to BYOB, if he needs to bring his own blocker and we don't have a guy for the safety, he does that. So just his style, the violence with which he runs, has been a big deal in those situational moments.
How big of a hit was that the two Marquise Goodwin blocks on the end zone down inside the 5-yard line there in the film room?
Hey, great effort by MG. And again, I was talking to AVP earlier, just obviously proud of the effort, proud of the score and those type of things, but just proud of the guys for how they fight together and how they literally pick each other up off the field. Like they will just, I think that just goes a long way in being a connected football team.
All right, that wraps us up. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.